Alright, this is a quick video just to document the bugginess that is attempting to play Worlds Adrift if you happen to be a fan of other games that involve flying. For those of you who are unfamiliar with flying games, such as flight simulators, space classics, everything from Wing Commander, Privateer, the entire X series, Elite, such as Elite Dangerous. All those, Star Citizen, flying games use what's called a HOTAS, short for hands on throttle and stick. Throttle in one hand, usually your dominant hand, is your flight stick, your throttle is in your offhand. They're festooned with buttons so your fingers don't have to go very far, or if at all. And so you have full analog control of throttle, pitch, yaw, and I'm pretty sure if you have support for it in your flight sim, you could map toaster strudel to a button. It'll do it. The whole idea, just like with a modern aircraft, is the pilot never takes his hands off the flight controls while flying. He's always at the ready to provide control input. Especially combat pilots, civil aviation, whole 9 yards. Keep your hands on the controls, just like you keep your hands on the wheel when you're driving. If you don't take your foot off the gas and brake, and your hands off the wheel, you always have something on there, so same idea with this. Always keeping your controls in your hands, so you can always respond. So, this game has flying ships and craft, and I figured after that at a PvE server, I'd take a look again. And apparently, since the last time I played and provided feedback on it, they still haven't fixed this problem. This spinning is actually the analog throttle slider on my flight stick on the right. It's not my throttle slider from Thrustmaster, but a Thrustmaster TM16000. Nice little Howler heart stick and a good little throttle. Love it. Use it for playing various flight sims and Star Citizen, stuff like that. And as you can see, I can move the throttle around and it bounces different directions. This is going to be for an accompanying bug report as well. I looked on the forums to see if BOSSA had anything to say about it. The only response I found from BOSSA in their own forums when looking up HOTAS was unplug it. Which, reaching behind in that nest of cables for all the other things I have plugged in, from tablets to monitors to speakers and that whole mess of cable back there, I'm not digging it out to unplug a stick just to play your game. And digging through Device Manager to turn off stuff just to play your game. Especially a game that contains flying things. I mean, I can understand if you didn't, if you wanted to bind this automatically to controls, but if you go into the menu, good old escape, God, it stops spinning. And if you notice as it bounces back and forth, there's no dead zoning on this. So if this was a controller, the controller would have to do the dead zoning itself. If you give anything that gives an analog input that's accurate all the way through an axis, it won't dead zone on it. The game has no dead zone. And as you can see when you go into your settings, for if you're thinking about this game on Steam, controls, you can invert your mouse. Apparently inverting the mouse, by the way, inverts the joystick too, which again, why are we tying those together? These are two separate inputs. Invert mouse settings, changing settings for inversion on mouse shouldn't change your stick. But as you can see, I don't have the ability to map that to a stick input or a button or anything else. So I can't remap these settings to put them back under my control. They just map to whatever they mapped them to. And I've got no option to turn it off and on. I can't even tell it just to ignore the sticks and just stick with mouse and keyboard. I don't get the option. It just, if it sees an analog input, it begins using it for whatever they deign should be hard locked. So here we are. If you have a HOTAS, unless you want to go into control panel and disable it, because I don't expect anyone else to go digging through their cabling. Have fun. Just make sure you disable it or unplug it before you play. And if you don't want to go disabling things off and on all the time, or fiddling with your pile of jacketed cables behind your desk, then that's the verdict. Don't. Sorry, Bosso. Refusing to update your UI and your controls and just telling everyone unplug everything is kind of a silly thing to do in a PC environment. I respectfully disagree.